Hello, students. Let us study about the anatomy and histology of kidney. So, in the previous lecture, we have studied about the urinary system, the overview of the urinary system, and the functions of the urinary system. Now, let us discuss about the kidneys. So, where is the kidney located? The location of the kidneys. So, the kidneys are paired and they are reddish kidney bean shaped organs, and they are located just above the waist between the peritoneum and the posterior wall of the abdomen. So you must be thinking that the kidneys are present in the front or the anterior wall of the abdomen. But no, this is positioned in the posterior wall of the abdomen between the peritoneum and the posterior wall of the abdomen. So, because their position is posterior to the peritoneum of the abdominal cavity, they are called as retroperitoneal organs. So, kidneys are retroperitoneal organs present behind. So the kidneys are located between the levels of the last thoracic and the third lumbar vertebrae, a position where they are protected partially by the 11th and 12th pair of ribs. So where they are located? They are located between the last thoracic and the third lumbar vertebrae, and also they are protected by the 11th and 12th pair of ribs. So as you can see in the pictures, the coming upcoming slides, the right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney because of the presence of the liver, which occupies a considerable space on the right side, superior, just above the kidneys. So from this picture, you can see the overview of the structure of the urinary system, the right and the left kidney. You can see the right kidney is slightly lower than the left kidney because the liver occupies a considerable position on the right hand side just above the kidney. This is the diaphragm, esophagus, and you can see this is the renal gland, that is the adrenal or suprarenal gland. And you can see the right and left kidney, the right and the left renal artery, and the right and the left renal vein, which flows into the inferior vena cava to the heart. You can see the right and the left ureter, which transports urine to the urinary bladder, and then the urethra, which eliminates the urine outside the body. This is the external anatomy of the kidney. As you can see from the picture, this is the transverse view. So when it is cut across like this is the transverse view of the kidney, showing the position and coverings of the kidney. So the kidney are surrounded by renal capsule, adipose capsule, and renal fascia, as you can see here. So this is the position. You can see the liver, the stomach, the pancreas, the large intestine, abdominal aorta, and this is the body of the L2. You can see the right and the left kidney, and the inner curvature, concave curvature of the kidney, where the renal artery, renal vein, ureter, everything comes out of the kidney. That region is called as the renal hilum. You can see this is the renal hilum, which is the concave inner curvature of the kidney. And you can see, as I told you, there are three layers which surrounds the kidney. The innermost layer is called as the renal capsule. So you can see the renal capsule followed by the middle adipose capsule and the outermost superficial renal fascia. So these are the three layers of the kidney which protects the kidney and positions the kidney in its place. So you can see there is the spleen and the ribs here. So this is a structure showing the sagittal view. So as you can see like this, the sagittal view shows the lung, liver, and the diaphragm. This is the kidney, this is suprarenal gland, this is the 12th rib, and these are the three layers of the kidney: the innermost renal capsule, the middle adipose capsule, and the outermost renal fascia, and also the peritoneum. So that is what is seen in this picture. So what is the size of the kidney? A typical adult kidney is 10 to 12 centimeters long, that is 4 to 5 inches, and 5 to 7 centimeters wide, that is 2 to 3 inches, and 3 centimeter thick, about the size of a bath soap. And it has have got a weight of 135 to 150 grams. So the concave medial border of each kidney faces the vertebral column, which is called as the hilum, through which the ureter, renal artery, and the renal vein comes out. You can see from this picture, That is the renal hilum. This is the renal hilum. You can see here from this region to this region, it is called as renal hilum, where you can see the ureter, renal artery, and the renal vein. So near the center of the concave border, there is an indentation, inner curvature called as a renal hilum, through which, as I told you, the ureter emerges from the kidney along with the blood vessel, lymphatic vessel, and the nerves. So you can see the pathway of the flow of urine. So this is the um, different layers. The renal cortex, the outermost region of the kidney is called as the renal cortex. The inner region is called as the renal medulla, and you can see these column-like structures through which the cortex extends inside is called as the renal column. And these are the renal pyramids, which are cone-shaped structures, which has got a wider edge facing towards the cortex and a narrow edge facing towards the inner medulla. And there are renal sinus present here, renal papillae, and also the there is the this is the renal capsule, outermost layer, the three layers. This is the renal lobule, and this is the flow of the urine. So the nephrons are present, millions of nephrons are present in each kidneys, and they are the structural and functional unit of the kidney or the excretory system. So the urine is formed by the nephron, and it is transported through the collecting duct and the papillary duct in the renal pyramid. It flows out of the minor calyx and then through the major calyx, and then it comes out of the renal pelvis and flows out of the ureter through the renal hilum, and then into the urinary bladder. So, what are the different layers of the kidney? So, there are three layers that surround each kidney. The deep and the innermost layer is called as the renal capsule. It is a smooth, transparent sheet of dense, irregular connective tissue, and it is continuous with the outer coat of the ureter. So, what is the function of this renal capsule? It serves as a barrier against trauma and helps to maintain the shape of the kidney. The second middle layer is called as the adipose capsule. It is a mass of fatty tissue. As the name implies, it is a layer of fatty tissue surrounding the renal capsule. So, what is the function of this adipose capsule? It protects the kidney from the trauma, just like the adipose renal capsule, and holds it firmly in place within the abdominal cavity. The third and the outermost or the superficial layer of the kidney is called as the renal fascia. It is a thin layer of dense irregular connective tissue that anchors the kidney, fixes the kidney to the surrounding structure and also to the abdominal wall. So this is the internal anatomy of the kidneys as mentioned. The internal anatomy may consist of the outermost renal cortex, the inner renal medulla, the renal column into which the cortex projects inside, and you can see the renal pyramids, the renal sinus, the renal papillae, and also the nephrons. So the urine which is formed in the nephron is collected by the collecting duct, flows through the renal pyramid, the papillary duct of the renal pyramid, and then into the minor calyx, and then to the major calyx, and then it comes out of the renal pelvis and flows out through the ureter to be stored in the urinary bladder. So this is the dissection of the kidney, dissected histology of the kidney, which is showing the renal capsule, renal cortex, minor calyx, and the major calyx, the renal artery, renal vein, the renal pelvis, the ureter, etc. So now let us see the internal anatomy of the kidneys. So a frontal section through the kidney reveals two distinct regions, as we have seen in the previous slides, previous pictures. A superficial or outer light red color area is called as the renal cortex. Cortex means a rind or bark, and a deep darker reddish brown inner region called as the renal medulla. Medulla means inner portion. Now, the renal medulla consists of several cone-shaped structures called as the renal pyramids. So, as you have seen in the picture, the base or the wider end of each pyramid faces the renal cortex, and the narrower or the apex end, called as the renal papilla, points towards the inside, that is the renal hilum. The renal cortex is the smooth textured area extending from the renal capsule to the bases of the renal pyramid and also projects into the spaces in between them. So it is divided into an outer cortical zone and the inner juxtamedullary zone, that is in between the medulla, that is the pyramids of the medulla. So those portions of the renal cortex that extends between the renal pyramids are called as renal columns. A renal lobe. What is a renal lobe? It consists of a renal pyramid, its overlaying areas of renal cortex, and one half of each adjacent renal column. This is called as a renal lobe. So together, the renal cortex and the renal pyramids of the renal medulla, they constitute the parenchyma or the functional portion of the kidney. So there is a the renal cortex, and there is and the renal pyramids. So within the parenchyma, there are many functional, smaller functional units of the kidney called as nephrons. So they are microscopic structures, and there are about 1 million microscopic nephrons present in the kidney. Urine, the formation of urine takes place in the nephrons. So the urine formed by the nephron is collected by the collecting duct, and they drain into the large papillary duct and through the renal papillae of the pyramids. The papillary duct drains into cup-shaped structures called as the minor and the major calyces. The calyx, singular calyx. Each kidney has around 8 to 18 minor calyces and 2 to 3 major calyces. So, what is a minor calyx? Minor calyx receives urine from the papillary duct, that is of one of the renal papillae, and delivers it to the major calyx. This is the route of the flow of the urine. From the major calyx, urine drains into a single large cavity called as the renal pelvis, and then out through the ureter to the urinary bladder. The hilum expands into a cavity within the kidney called as the renal sinus. Hope you can recollect from the previous slides what is a renal sinus, which contains part of the renal pelvis, the calyces, and branches of the renal blood vessels and nerves. So adipose tissue helps to stabilize the portion of these structures in the renal sinus. So this is how the pathway of the urine flows. Now let us look at the blood and nervous supply of the kidneys. So this picture shows the frontal frontal plane of the kidney. So you can see the renal capsule, the renal cortex, the renal medulla, which contains the pyramid and the different regions of the blood vessels. So the small portion is enlarged here, which is showing the nephrons. So the nephron consists of the Bowman's capsule, glomerular capillaries, afferent and efferent arteriole, then followed by the peritubular capillaries and the blood vessels, the vasa recta and the blood vessels. So let us see how the blood vessels are divided. So the renal artery. So the renal artery is this. It flows into the kidney, each kidney, through the renal hilum. Through the renal hilum, it is divided into segmental artery. You can see the segmental artery here. This is the segmental artery, which further goes down and divides into interlobar arteries. You can see which flows into the in between the lobes, interlobar arteries, which further divides into arcuate arteries. You can see here arcuate arteries, which further divides into interlobular arteries. From the interlobular artery, you can see they branch into further smaller arterioles called as the afferent arteriole, which goes into the glomerulus, that is the glomerular capsule, and divides into finer branches called as the glomerular capillaries, and then reunite and emerge out of the nephron called as the efferent arterioles, which will flow along the tubular structure of the nephron called as the peritubular capillaries, which further branch in some areas of the Henle's loop called as the vasa recta. And then you can see the change in the color. The change in the color you can see very well. There is a they further unite to form the interlobular veins. You can see the interlobular veins here, which further unite to form the arcuate veins, interlobar veins, and then finally empty into the renal vein. So this is the path of the blood flow. So, though the kidney constitute is very smaller in size, it is only 0.5% of the total body mass. They receive around 20 to 25% of the cardiac output. That is the resting cardiac output via both the kidneys. That is the via right and the left renal arteries. The renal blood flow in the adult through both the kidneys is around 1200 ml per minute. So within the kidney, the renal artery divides into several segments, several branches called as the segmental arteries, which supply the different segments or areas of the kidney. Each segmental artery again branches into many that enter the parenchyma and pass through the renal columns between the renal pyramids. They are called as the interlobar arteries, which pass through the columns. At the base of the renal pyramids, the interlobar arteries arch between the renal medulla and the cortex. So they are called as the arcuate arteries. There is a bow like shape like a bow. Arcuate arteries further divide into a series of interlobular arteries and pass between the renal lobules. So interlobular arteries enter the renal cortex and gives off branches called as the afferent arterioles. Afferent means towards, ferent means to carry. Afferent arterioles which enter each and every nephron, that is the glomerular capsule, and further divides into many smaller branches called as the glomerular capillaries. So each nephron receives one afferent arteriole which divides into a tangled ball-shaped capillary network called as the glomerulus or the glomerular capillaries. So it is called as a little ball. The glomerular capillaries then further reunite as they emerge out of the capsule, glomerular capsule called as the efferent arterioles. Efferent means out, that carries blood out of the glomerulus. So as you can see from the name glomerular capsule, they are also a kind of capsule, but they are unique when you compare it with the other capsules in the body because they are positioned between two arterioles, that is the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole, rather than between an arteriole and a venule, which is where usually the capillaries are present between an arteriole and venule. Here it is present between two arterioles, afferent and the efferent arteriole. So, because they are capillary network and also play an important role in urine formation, the glomeruli are considered as part of both the cardiovascular system and the urinary system. The efferent arteriole, which is emerging out of the nephron, that is the capsule, glomerular capsule, divided to form peritubular capillaries. Peri means around, which surround the tubular portion of the nephrons in the renal cortex. Extending from some efferent arteriole are long loop-shaped structures, capillaries called as the vasa recta. Some of the branches of the efferent arteriole branch into vasa recta. Vasa means vessels, recta means straight, that supply the tubular portions of the nephron, especially the Henle's loop in the renal medulla. Then the peritubular capillaries eventually reunite to form the peritubular veins and then into interlobular veins, which also receives blood from the vasa recta. The blood from the interlobular veins drain into the arcuate veins and then into the interlobar veins that are running between the renal pyramids. From here, the blood leaves the kidney through a single renal vein that comes out of the renal hilum, which carries the venous blood to the inferior vena cava. Apart from this, the blood vessels, there are many renal nerves that originate in the renal ganglion and pass through the renal plexus into the kidney along with the renal arteries. So, what are they? These renal nerves are part of the sympathetic division of the autonomic nervous system. So, mostly these nerves are vasomotor nerves, which will regulate the flow of blood through the kidney by causing vasodilation and vasoconstriction of the renal arterioles. So, that is the role of the vasomotor nerves. That is, they regulate the flow of blood through the kidney. So, how? By causing vasodilation or vasoconstriction of renal arterioles. So, this is the structure, that is the histology and anatomy of the kidneys. Let us study about the structure and anatomy of nephrons in the next lecture. Thank you.